All right, so I went through and I watched this interview. This is really good. Now, there's a bunch of interviews out here like this. I don't want to just be like, oh, this is the best one ever. But this was like one of my favorites.
Okay.
So it's Joyce talking with Binyamin. They both have Savior T.I.
Okay, yes.
So Joyce is N-I-T-I, and then Binyamin is T-I-S-E.
Right.
And so it was really great because it was like they were talking without the camera on. You know, like they're just like...
They got in a flow state.
They were like way in a flow state.
Yeah.
And I was just like sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is like just pure insights to the T.I. All right, anyways, I went through it really fast. And I randomly just grabbed some kind of, quotes that they were saying.
Oh, very interesting.
And I kind of sloppily paraphrased them.
Okay.
But I want to kind of like run them through for you so we can like TE them out.
We can TE their TI.
Yeah, exactly. Binyamin says, the delusion that I'm the ultimate standard of truth. It was like one of his most profound opening honest lines of like describing TI.
He is saying,
Yeah.
I have a delusion that I am the ultimate standard for truth.
Yes.
I have absolutely seen that very consistently with the TIs. And it's hard for me because I'm like, oh my, like, the TE, I'm like, oh my God, how can you do that? Like, it's so fascinating for me. I'm like, how can you do that? How can you do that? But like, that's so fucking honest. That's so real. That's so true from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
And that's how all savior functions are.
I was thinking as well of like comparing the TI, say, to the NI. Like that's how we feel about like NI compared to NE.
Oh yeah.
Like the NEs are running around in like TE like with all their crazy different concepts. They're like, you idiots, we are zoned in. I have the delusional confidence that the pattern that I am looking at is the ultimate standard of the pattern. So like I can relate to TI with my NI.
Totally.
Let me figure out my own way, and I'm responsible for the logic.
That one's easy. That one makes sense. That seems pretty simple. Like, let me figure it out on my own.
Right.
I'm responsible for the logic.
Right.
I get that.
Okay, so you know how like when we're working with Cody, like if you don't want to be a helicopter parent, you got to like let him struggle with it.
That's very hard.
So it's like the TE is just like, let's just go get the job done. Let's just
I
go
know.
do it. Whether it works, doesn't work, we understand how it works, we know how it works, we don't care. Just get it done.
Right.
But the TI is like no. Yeah. I'll get it done. I'll get it to work.
Yeah.
But it has to be correct. And I have to know how the hell I did that.
And I do feel like a lot of the times too, it's like if it's best suited for me to do it, then I'll just be like, get out of the way. I'll do the dishes, even though like that takes away the position from Cody, for instance. Like I will take that job because it's faster for me to do it in that moment, instead of letting the person be the one to sort out the thing for themselves.
That's a big thing that I was seeing as they were talking, because I was really seeing, I was seeing a lot of like, I was getting a lot of better understanding of TE, honestly, like listening to their interview.
Yeah.
Like seeing like how silly we are with TE of like wait, they're actually, it's like say when it comes to dishes or whatever the thing is. It's like, we're just like running so fast.
Yeah.
We're like, let's just figure out how to make it work. There, I got it. I run away, and maybe I could replicate that. Maybe I understand that fully, but usually I don't, and I don't care. They're like, no. If I'm gonna do this, I have to make sure the blocks are built correctly.
See, yeah.
I gotta know them.
We just shit out ideas. Like absolutely shit out. Like, hey, this could work for you. Hey, this like ideas are just absolutely like ridiculous. Like, oh, try this. Oh, try that. What about this idea? What about that idea? What about this? Like, I will just shit out so many crappy ideas for something. And of course I'll be annoyed when somebody's like, that didn't work for me. I'm like, shut up. Fuck you. You know, like take it or leave it. It's up to you. It's up to you. You know, it's just a very like, I don't care if these ideas work or not work. All I'm doing is going, I'm just going to see whichever one lands in that crevice. I'm not the one that's like, hey, careful. That's an idea.
Let me jump down to one of the things they said.
Yeah.
TE will support one argument with another argument, like just layering on the bullshit.
He said that? That's
yeah,
so
we
true.
said that like in Joyce and Binyamin, I know I'm like kind of muddling up your words a little bit. I'm just like writing these down really fast.
Right.
But it was basically along the lines of like, the picture that I was getting from them was like, TE will just run in, like what you were saying, and be like, oh, try this. And then they're like, the TIs are like, yeah, but hold on, where did you get that? How does that work? And they're like, well, here's another idea. And they're like, the TEs will just layer on.
If that one didn't work for you and that one didn't make sense, I'll run around and try and find another thing. Now, I will say, by the way, that doesn't necessarily mean that the TE person is wrong. That one I know will boggle your mind.
No, they know that.
But like, it's hard for us, I feel like, it's very hard for us to find the right words in the fucking English language to explain an idea. So we'll say something and we'll shit something out, and they'll be like, oh, that didn't make sense to me. I'm like, okay, we'll try this. Okay, we'll try this. Okay, try this. I know what the concept is, but it's sometimes so hard to explain that logic to somebody else. So you're like, okay, what was the thing that made sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay, here you go. This one.
So you're layering a lot of shitty arguments really fast there. Let me try and pull those apart a little bit.
God damn it.
So first of all, like when it comes to like, it doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. They talk about that. They're like, look, you TE asses, we know, let's say half the time that you're right, and then you're running off, but you don't know how or why you're right. Like they're not pragmatic in the sense, they're not logic whores like we are. Where we're just like, if a bad idea works, then I'm gonna go with a bad idea. They're like, I'll stop you right there. I will not go with a bad idea that works. I have to take apart that idea, understand what's going on. And so it's like they're really obligated to the truth and understanding the why. Like for example, with you and I
want to argue this because I'm like, and it doesn't even mean that they're right or correct. I like literally want to fight that because I've seen TI be like, this is the truth. And I'm like, actually.
I know, but watch. Let me like flip the math around with NI and NE, right?
Yeah.
So our extroverted functions are obsessed with it has to work in reality on the fly. I think that's a big thing that I saw is like the TE is like, I'm in a damn hurry.
Right, that's so true.
I have to make this work for everybody right now. I'll use duct tape or whatever I got to use. You know what I mean? The introverted functions are like, I got time. I'm building the world.
That's interesting.
Like,
That's
give me a minute.
interesting.
Let me sort this out. So, for example, with the NI, we're like, NEs, get the fuck off me.
That's so true.
I know you figured out the right concepts, and I know you got the books, and I know you have all the understandings.
But like the op code took fucking time, like a day after day after year after year after year after year. Hey, but what about this concept? Does it maybe does that? I'm like,
For example, when NEs send us stuff, they're like, hey, here's a concept and it works. We're like, I don't care.
Yeah, right.
I don't fully understand. I don't fully see that concept in my NI. So get the hell out of here. And that one drives the fucking NEs nuts that we do that.
Right, true.
You know, it's like TE and TI looking at each other.
Right, you're trying to use your NI to help understand TI.
Right, exactly. Hard for me to accept something that works if it's not true.
I feel the exact same way. So I don't feel like that's
Your TE is going along right now, by the way.
No. You do. I refuse to accept something that does not work if it isn't accurate.
That I will argue with that right now.
Okay.
That is so not true. I guess compared to the contrast of what they're talking about.
Okay, like so I didn't watch the interview. Right. I did not watch the interview. So I'm going off of like I'd have to see this in context.
It's just
to go what the hell?
Yeah.
What's the difference between TI versus TE? Because that's not necessarily an individual versus outside thing.
Here was something genius that I thought they said. There's like TI is good at like building up, like picture the Jenga blocks of logic, and NI is good at narrowing down.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, because they both have NI.
And they're both doing a. Yeah, that's very true. Because decision making is like is a concluding of doing something and then taking action.
Right.
So decisions very much are taking action oriented. So I would see that in some way, shape, or form, you're going to build on top of something. I guess, especially a tool or a skill.
Right. So we understand this. We understand NI is narrowing down.
Because I don't want to see that.
Right. We take every concept and knock it down to 4 and then
simplest.
2. Bring it down to little binary coins. And
almost too much.
If it's not down to binary coins, we're not done. You know?
Oh, completely. And that's what drives people crazy is we'll be like, here's our NI. And they're like, what the hell? Because they didn't follow the pathway. And so they don't know how we got to that NI.
Right.
That is very interesting because that's probably the exact same thing that TI is doing. Like, because we were not in the process of them in their logic session.
Totally.
Then they're like, I can't even explain it to you because the amount of sifting through shit that I had to do.
Benjamin sends me emails that are like 10 layers deep of logic on shit he's been working on for 6 months. I'm just like,
that doesn't make sense.
Can you send me a picture? I
right,
don't know
because
what the hell you're
weren't
saying.
in the process of him doing that. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. And so like TI is good at like building up. That really hit me a few months ago when I opened up and saw the gearbox.
The gearbox.
You know,
thing.
like,
I know.
Okay, that's what layering thoughts and layering layering reasons, layering logic. Like that is not what we're doing.
Banging the blocks. Like, yeah.
I feel like TI when it's like all in its flow, it's like stacking 50 high, and you and I won't go any farther than 2 or 3 because again,
that's so true.
Back to in a hurry. I gotta go.
That's true.
I gotta go run over here and work on something in the yard. I can't sit here and think about this too long.
My patience for something not working is very limited. And that's what I feel like with the logic for me. It's very shallow. It's like my patience for this doesn't work. It's like bang, 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 bang. It doesn't work.
Toss. Right.
So fast. Like I just want to be like, no, we're done here. It didn't work. fast. Let's go.
Right. God damn.
Yeah, very interesting.
TE will support one argument with another argument. Okay, you already hit that one.
Yeah, I got that.
TE on the outcome, TI on the truth that gets to the outcome.
I don't understand that.
So it's so much. I'm starting to see it more and more with the NI and the NE.
Okay.
The TE is just so pragmatic. We're running in a hurry trying to get it done. And TI is like, I have to understand the process that got that outcome. I have to be truthful to the logic and the reasons, and I got to slow down and do it right. And I gotta be conscious of it. That's another thing that I saw too, is like how conscious they are of their reasons and how unconscious we are of our reasons. I mean, you a little bit more than me with masculine TE.
Yeah, I would say that has to do with Save Your Demon as well.
Yeah, but like, you and I think best when we can talk out loud and it's in the moment and we're going and working on something in real time.
Yeah.
Which
you would then scatter and therefore not be able to hold on to stuff as much.
Yes.
Okay.
The more time you and I spend alone, we start to fall into our FI, which could be a whole nother fucking video.
I know.
We start to go into the FI and we start stacking emotional
connections.
Or
I don't like this. I do like this. I hate that. I hate that.
And even Binyamin was like, yeah, FI is the last one I'm trying to figure out too.
Because it is so weird.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on that I can say at the end here. But like,
do you have TE thoughts on that?
I do.
Yeah.
Once I figure out what is true, then I'll value it. Talking about like diet and finances and stuff. And it's fascinating because it's like, I see the same thing with you, where it's like you're not allowed to love something unless there's good reasons.
I have to have a good reason. It has to have. If I don't even allow myself to go do things I like, unless I'm like, yes, I got a reason for it now. I'm allowed to go do that.
Same deal with them. Just it seems to be even more intense. Yeah. Of like if they have to figure it out, they got to make it work for them. They got to know the truth. It has to be obligated to what is true.
Right.
And then what's fascinating is like they're very aware of like what is true and what works. Oftentimes can be different. And like you and I just never think about that. Like truth and works.
It's the same, right?
Like no, we will do stuff that is not true but does work.
I don't agree.
And we don't care.
If it has to be accurate.
No, but it can be not true. Like for example.
What do you mean by that?
Like for example, so we're like, oh, we take massive amounts of garlic every time we're sick and we get better.
Yeah.
And then like all the studies come in, they're like, actually, that's not true. That's not accurate. There's no scientific basis.
See, I would still want to go search out why. I would want to, me personally, I'm obligated to go actually find out the why. Like, well, actually, there's probably a chemical compound that is in the garlic that fucks with the virus, that doesn't let it survive.
Don't get too censor in the analogy, because that's probably true.
Yeah,
but like bullshit with the reasons with me.
Okay.
You would have to ask them about it, because like I think it's a blind spot for us that there are things that we're doing that is not true, not correct, not solid reasons, yet we still are able to make things work. Like, for example, I remember I used to drive guys crazy in the RC airplane days. I would do crazy shit to the planes, like, you broke all the rules. That's not supposed to work.
Okay, I'm okay not truthful. If it works for them. If it's not true, if it's bullshit, if it's not accurate, if it's somehow magically, NI-wise worked for someone else, I'm like, well... sounds batshit, but hey, it worked for you. Yay, we got to win.
Right.
So yes, absolutely. Because I'm not trying to make it like congruent in an internal logic structure. Right. I'm trying to make it work as getting a task done type. Right. Like those blocks need to fit together.
Right. So last point. So for example, like astrology or say Myers-Briggs, like yeah, it works for me. I'm happy. I'm successful. I make money. I have a great relationship. I'm full of love. Like, yeah, but it's astrology. It doesn't work. The logic isn't sound. I can't value that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
The last thing of like the TI integrity, that's where like at the end they were talking about, they're like, that's why I got to say fuck you to the tribe sometimes.
Yeah, I understand
that. Right?
I completely understand that. We've had to do that with our FI. Like when we've seen that other people value things that we don't value, like, and won't get us to our NI endpoint, we will absolutely be like, and I will not do that, and I will say fuck you because of my FI. I'm obligated to the things that matter to me and the pathway that I'm on and who I'm going to be at the end of this road, the NI end of this road. So I completely understand that.
Right.
Yeah, I get it.
So in closing, kind of one thing that came to mind here as I'm TE shitting this out is it felt like TI was kind of like the Terminator. Where it's like they're programmed with like, this is the accurate, correct logic. Okay. John Connor must die. So let's fucking get this done. These are the personal reasons. Don't care if the tribe agrees with it or not.
Yes, right.
And this is my value system, blah, blah, blah. So the TI and the Terminator seem to be very much the same. The Predator is kind of like FI. It's like, oh, I'm still going to hunt and kill you, but this is kind of for my own personal amusement.
Right.
Because I'm a fucking badass. And I'll figure out whatever, a spear, laser blasting parakeet on my shoulder. I don't give a fuck. Little spinny razor blade thing. I'm going to come get you. And that's the FI is just like, I cannot be bargained with.
Yeah.
Self-amused. Right. I'm on a fucking mission. I'm a badass. Fuck you logic, you know. The Predator versus Terminator.
Okay.